Hi, and welcome to Thursday Movie Flashback. My name is Lawrence, Punk with Toys, and with me is my co-host, Matthew. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It was a good day today. Having fun.
I think I have too many streams going on that I can't remember the names of each one. And tomorrow's probably not going to make it any better. And I have no show notes today because I watched the movie and I took all the pictures. So, believe it or not, for Monday, I actually do put Monday Night Toy Ramblings because when I first started doing it, I kept forgetting the name of the show. So, how have you been?
I've been well. Yeah, things are going well. Everybody's healthy, so that's good. I know a lot of people are getting sick this time of year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my son was just sick, like last month. So, are you watching anything in particular?
I did. I finally saw Sisu.
Sisu.
Oh, that movie is awesome. If you want a balls to the wall action film, it's amazing. It's about a Finnish general who's trying to retire up in the middle of nowhere in Finland, and he strikes gold. He finds all this gold, and then he starts gathering it up to bring it back. And he runs into, this is 1944, so he runs into a bunch of Nazis.
Oh, I know what movie you're talking about because you saw the preview and went, oh, that looks awesome.
Yeah, and so it's made by the people who made John Wick, and it's very much like Inglourious Bastards and John Wick kind of thrown together. The general's colonel, whatever he was, story is pretty good. The story's nice. It's got over-the-top action, a whole bunch of nonsense that couldn't happen in real life, but it's awesome. So much fun, and the dog lives, so it's okay.
Real life is stupid. I live it every day. I don't need to see it on everything. Just don't give me Cobra Law because I don't need that. Yeah, you know what? God, I hate that. I just watched a 4-episode show on Netflix. Damn it! It has Mr. Purple from
David Tennant.
Yes, there's David Tennant in it. And then it has the guy that played.
Are you talking about Good Omens?
What is it about? No.
Okay.
It's only like 4 episodes, and it takes
okay.
between the U.S. and overseas. It is, and
Okay.
again, I just thought about it. It was so good. It's about the guy, like this, not serial killer, but a murderer.
Yeah.
Death Row. This guy that played he was in Green Lantern. He's the guy. He's the guy that becomes Sinestro.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like him. He's good. Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes place on two.
Mark Strong.
Yes, but it takes place on both. On both continents. It's really good.
Nice.
It's so intertwined, but it's only like 4 episodes, and they left it up for a second season, or however they want to call it.
Did you hear what happened to the Disney Plus Daredevil show?
No.
So they completed 8 episodes, and then Disney came in and fired all the production people, and they scrapped the entire thing, and they're starting over. And this got Vincent D'Onofrio so upset, he just said, I'm off social media. I'm out. And so he stopped posting on all social media because Disney finally figured out that their formula doesn't work. They're losing viewership. Every single show they put out has less and less viewers on it, even no matter what they say. If you look at the actual analytics, nobody's watching their programs.
Oh, God.
And the Daredevil one had so much hope for it, but everybody remembers the best thing that Marvel has ever done is the first 2 seasons of the Netflix Daredevil show. And Disney cannot recreate that because Disney cannot go in that direction because it's Disney. It has to be PG-13, and they have certain things that they have to do corporate-wise, too many fingers in the pot, so they can't recreate it.
That's why you should put it on Hulu.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, I thought doing they went to like 21 episodes anyway, which I think was kind of lofty for everything else they done, which everything else was 6 episodes.
Yeah,
yeah,
they had 18 scheduled for that one that they just
was it 18?
totally
Okay.
scrapped. Yeah. But I mean, it's more than with the 6 to 8 is what they've been doing recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It sucks because you're right. What Netflix did for the most part was pretty good.
Well, the Daredevil show was amazing. There were pieces and parts of the other ones. I thought the first season of Jessica Jones was awesome.
I again, it was Mr. Purple, right? Was that his name?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought he was such an amazing villain, and the fact that they killed him off, I was like, dude, this is the villain you need. Like, this is the Loki this could be your Loki.
Yeah.
You know?
I would say that I found David Tennant in 2006 because he was Doctor Who, and he was an amazing Doctor Who.
I've seen him in a couple. He was in a British.
Well, he was in Harry Potter.
I don't like Harry Potter. I can't get into it.
Yeah. Okay.
No, he was in a British detective show for like 3 seasons. And then Amazon brought it over here. What?
Broadchurch.
Yes. And then Amazon brought it over here to make it Americanized. And they changed all the names other than his name.
Yeah.
He tried to lose the accent, and it was awful. The first episode was literally a carbon copy, but Broadchurch was awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, Broadchurch was great. Yeah. Well, they do that a lot with British shows and trying to Americanize them. There's another one, I cannot think of the name, it just slipped my mind, but it's about a guy who rents a flat, and he finds out that the flat has a ghost in it, and his flatmate's a vampire, and then you find out later he becomes a werewolf. And there's a British version and an American version, and I like the American version a little bit better. But that was a fun show.
I'm not obsessed. I love watching European, British detective shows, police shows, and I'm like, you guys don't carry guns? Why do you not carry guns? It doesn't make any sense. I live in Detroit. Like, good luck on that one.
I got to highlight this one. There's Allison. Three's Company was originally a British show. Yeah. R.I.P. Suzanne Summers. As Punk said, Terry, whatever.
I put was it Cindy? Wait, Cindy was her.
I think it was Terry. You put a picture up of Terry. I forgot the actress's actual name.
No, Terry was the nurse.
Oh, okay. I thought that's the one.
And then
who was it? Was Chrissy, Cindy, and
Chrissy.
Terry.
It was Cindy. Yeah, Cindy is she was basically a carbon copy of
Chrissy.
Chrissy, and it sucked. Yeah. But then I brought Terry in, and it was so much better because it wasn't the same person.
Right.
But yeah, been a while since I made one. I'm like, I can make one of these really quick. Gotta get to watch what I do because now I have some people that are in the industry that they know certain people, but oh well, we all die. And I hope people make jokes when I die. All right, so Matthew and I discussed it, and we are doing Evil Dead 2 today. And it left on such a cliffhanger that we decided that the next movie is going to be Army of Darkness because we kind of gotta finish it. It's just too good, and it's been a while since I watched Army of Darkness. It's not technically a horror movie; it's technically a comedy.
Action comedy, maybe.
It is just awesome. Is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. We all know The Office was the British. I'm not trying to sound rude, Fetrid. Yes, the British Office was not as good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good. they didn't have nearly as much time to create the characters that our version had. And I'm glad that they were, and they always paid homage to it, and then even
Yeah, they
bringing
did.
him over.
Yeah.
So
I just think that the American laziness really played into the American version of The Office so much better.
But they developed it so well that it was just you can't even it's probably my favorite TV show of all time. It's just it's timeless. They talked about it. They go, we really don't talk. There are some Blackberries in it, but for the most part, we don't show a lot of cell phones. You don't leave the office, so it's kind of like Cheers. Cheers is just a bar.
Yep.
You're not out. It's going to be timeless. You go and watch Cheers now, and it's just a bunch of people hanging out at a bar, which is exactly what they do now. So, yes, Allison, the chili, the chili scene in American Office still makes me laugh so hard I can't breathe. Everything about that, everything. And my boss and I, we started watching it from the moment when it started. I don't know what made us, but we probably used the Alliance for 10 years after that.
One that hit me at the right time was Community. I was a community college professor at the time, so it hit me.
We had we had a university, but it was really small Catholic university at the time, and we called it Community because that's exactly how when we went over there, that's how they acted in that room like that. But
if you go back and rewatch it, there was some predictive things that took place there.
Yes. Community was really good. I don't think I ever finished Community. The one that took me time to get into was Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Everyone talked about how good it was. I didn't like it. I finally was like, all right, I got to gut through it. Everyone's like, gut through the first season. And I gutted through the first season, same as I told people with The Office. But though I thought the first season of The Office was awesome. You get into that second season and they get rid of the one actor. Once they start developing on those characters, you really do start to enjoy Parks and Rec. It's it gets way better as it goes on. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so I don't know. There was a running joke in Community that they said we want 6 seasons in a movie, and so they kept saying it over and over again, and they got canceled, and then they brought it back, and they finished their 6 seasons, but we're still waiting on the movie. So that was a fun show. It brought in a lot of tropes about some things. The pillow fights, the paintball wars that they have, the dean of students, the PC character that they created as the school mascot. So many good things there. You all right, man?
Yeah. The iced tea went down the wrong way.
Oh no.
I gotta say this. When it comes to movies that are based after TV shows, I think the sci-fi ones can do really well, but I think a lot of the stuff just doesn't do that well because so much of the stuff is going to be serialized, and comedies are hard to do.
Yeah, Star Trek is better in a serialized format than it is in the movie format. I love those movies, but they're not the same as what the TV show was. Now, the opposite can also be true, but I love, as we're talking about tonight, Ash vs. the Evil Dead. I thought that was an amazing TV show to continue the storyline from Ash's world.
No, and there was just so much to add to it, but it also wasn't just about Ash. They found a good way to bring in new characters that when you watched, you started to have feelings towards them.
Yep.
Where I think so many other iterations of bringing back something from the past where they don't do that. Like we talked about Cobra Kai. I think they do a wonderful job of, like, if they just brought Cobra Kai back and there was Johnny and Danielson and they're barely in it and it's all about their kids, we'd all be like, this sucks because I don't care about these people.
Yep.
That's what I said about Rebels when it started. Rebels had no characters that really associated back to the original, you know, to the original Star Wars movies. So I didn't have
Yeah.
any. I had nothing towards it until they started bringing in new characters that we already or characters that we already knew, and you're like, okay, now I have, and now I'm starting to care about these other characters. They
Yeah.
did a
Oh,
wonderful job with Cobra Kai.
yeah, Cobra Kai and Ash vs. the Evil Dead. That's the way you continue a legacy. Is you have to have the handoff. You have to make the story about the characters that we love, and then bring in new people that we can learn to love, and then pass it on to
Yep.
them as it continues forward. If you just throw the new people in there, nobody's going to care, as we've seen multiple times.
Yeah, so Rebels was a slow burn. I'm with you. Like it took some
The
time.
first season of Rebels was hard for me to get through. I almost quit the show because I couldn't stand Chopper. I couldn't stand the characters. None of the characters I liked at all in that first season. But they toned down Chopper later, and it was better.
See, I like this. I never watched. I never watched this. I never watched Firefly. It was based off Firefly, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I never got into
really
Firefly.
I really like Serenity. I thought it was the next season, and it wrapped up the storyline, not the way Joss wanted it to, but I still have a strong place in my heart for it. And there's some moments in there that are just incredibly heart wrenching to me, and that's what you have to do in a movie. There has to be stakes.
Well, now I can't watch it anyway because I heard all about how mean Joss was and how he yelled at people. Um, and I cannot believe that a director would yell at people. He wasn't a very nice person.
Go
Um,
figure.
and I love Cordelia because she's so hot, but good Lord, girl, stop whining about it. He yelled at you? Like, I'm sorry.
I tell you what, right now, there are people clamoring to bring Joss back because he refused to do things when they tried to alter what he wanted to do too much. He quit working for Marvel because of how much influence Disney was starting to put on him and what he was able to do. And he said, "No, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
You have to give
Now,
me freedom to create, otherwise I won't do anything for you."
now, what I would love to see a movie based off the TV show or a continuation would be Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel.
I thought that those shows wrapped up so well. I don't know where I would want to see them take it because in the comic books and the other material that they've come out with, it's not that good.
I mean,
It's
I
okay.
agree with you. They wrapped them up well, but I wouldn't have a problem with it because
Yeah.
I thought. Again, this isn't a movie. I thought Justified wrapped up really well, and then they
Yeah.
had this last season, which was a one-off based in Detroit, which of course, like one of my favorite shows, and it's in Detroit. And at the end, they brought back. Yeah, I know Buffy was a movie.
Yeah, it was the movie first, and Joss did write that movie also, but it was a completely different animal
Yes,
altogether.
completely different iteration. But at the end of this season of Justified, they brought back the main villain of the last one. Now they could just leave it open. I mean, they could just end it because it did end. But you're going, all right. I need one more season. They just stepped right back into those roles. They were absolutely awesome. This will probably kill some people. I loved the new Dallas when they brought Dallas back.
You know what? I actually kind of liked it too, and the show would have kept going if the guy hadn't died.
And you know what? You know what I love because I remember reading about it because my mom used to watch Dallas. So, I love the fact that they were like it was just stepping back into it, like we had never left. But the
Yeah.
fact that Larry Hagman said like he knew that he was going to die, and he said, "I want it to be written into the show."
Yeah.
It's not like a shocking. He's like, you know what? Have it written into the show. So
Yeah.
finally, JR did get shot and died.
Finally, for real this time. No, we mean it.
we mean it. And Bobby, there's not going to be a whole season that just disappears.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there are some good shows that I think could be turned into movies and vice versa,
yeah.
but sometimes it
It's
just
really
doesn't
hard.
work.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it with
And
the X
and Allison,
Files.
I just want to acknowledge that too. Yeah, we understand there was more than just that going on there. He did some very mean things to people other than just yell at them. But
Yeah, but again, like you never heard anything. I'm not gonna get into it. I don't want to go down into politics, but again, politics plays so much into it, and the fact
yeah,
that so many of these people never said anything, and then all of a sudden now they're coming out, and
yeah.
I love them, but why weren't you saying this before?
Um, there's all kinds of reasons for it. There's all kinds of speculation on it, and we will never know the truth about any of it. And all we get is hearsay, and we make rash judgments on hearsay without any proof or evidence.
Yeah,
Sometimes, not in every case. Some cases they're very obvious, but still, there's a lot of people that have had careers ruined that turned out they shouldn't have had their careers
and
ruined
there's
for.
more things about Bryan Singer that
Yeah,
are way
yeah,
more
there is.
damning. Like that's damning. That's not just someone being mean and yelling and again, I've been yelled at by people. Um, so, all right, let's get into this because I'd like to get done by midnight. Probably won't happen, but damn it. But because, then again, tomorrow I'm going on. So if you're a channel member, just so you know, we are having a channel members only stream. It's going to be the first one to be once a month on Fridays, at least once a month. It's going to be it's going to be strange. It's going to be weird. So I don't know what I'm doing yet, but Matthew, you'll be there. I'm assuming Allison will be there. Maybe not after I defended Joss. I don't know. Um, and then on Saturday, I'm going on with Jay Bartlett to discuss Star Wars. So I'll be promoting that shortly. But now
So
let's
it's a no
talk
sleep weekend for
about.
Lawrence.
Yeah, Sunday. Listen, if you have a stream on Sunday, fuck you. I ain't fucking paying attention. I'm getting. Of course, watch. Like I'll get like a whole bunch of shit shipped to me that I gotta review. All
Well, we know
right.
you've got something coming tomorrow, supposedly.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. But if I wake up and it says out for delivery,
Yep.
I'll have before 11 o'clock to do it. So. All right. So Evil Dead 2. We're kind of ignoring the first one because it's kind of a remake, but kind of not a remake. I consider it more a remake.
This is the reboot, remake, retelling, sequel, all at the same time.
Yeah. Because you can't. I mean, this guy is not stupid enough to go back there again.
Right.
What you would think.
Well, I mean, it is Ash.
That is very true. Oh, and here comes Tony's figs.
There's Tony. Right when we start talking about the movie, also perfect
today.
timing. Yeah.
So we get the backstory of the Necronomicon, which this book is just so cool, but I really don't want it in my house.
No, absolutely not.
That is a nice looking Necronomicon. You have notes on this, or are we just gonna go through the slides?
Well, let's just go through it. I mean, Necronomicon explanation, inked in blood, 1300 AD. That's important. And then you see Ash at the cabin in the woods with his girlfriend, kind of retelling what had happened.
And you get this wonderful art. Like even as a kid, I loved like the art. Like, and then it got faster and faster and faster.
Yeah. It was really cool the way they designed.
If I go
all
too
those
fast,
pages
it's going to slow down.
Yeah, it's going to crash on you.
Yep.
Yeah, and they kind of just tell that little backstory about them coming to the cabin and then everybody dying and Ash having to, cut his girlfriend's head off and bury her, and the reel-to-reel tape. If any guys don't know what a reel-to-reel is, that's tape that goes from one to the other and plays audio sound.
So yeah, you really do see how young he is here compared to now. Not
Yeah,
that the guy looks bad. I mean, he still looks pretty good for what he's in. He's got to be in his 60s now.
yeah, he does look pretty good. Uh, and then you get the bridge. This looks so
Hell
cheesy.
no. Hell, I seriously like. Which of all the people here, who would drive across this? I wouldn't walk across this, let alone fucking drive across it.
What, you don't want to be like Lost Boys and hang off the bottom, or like Stand By Me and be running after a train chasing you across a bridge just like that?
Yeah, hell no. That is just. Although it does look like it's built pretty sturdy, to be honest. I mean, they have the two pillars there in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at bridge construction, it doesn't look bad.
No. So we get the Michigan State. Now, if you guys don't know, they're all based out of Michigan. I don't remember if Sam Raimi went to Michigan State or not. I know Bruce Campbell went to one of the directional schools, I think Western Michigan, but he's out of Royal Oak, same as Sam Raimi. There is a lot of people, again, a lot of Michigan actors and actresses.
That's awesome. Love Bruce, man. He's such a cool dude.
I met him. So, quick story about that, and I should probably talk about this next week, and I guess I'll probably reiterate that. We went to go watch Army of Darkness with him, and actually on the Michigan campus. And we watched the movie. Lights come on. Boom, Q&A comes up. And now this is before DVDs, right? Everything was VHS. And I had raised my hand and I asked, because as they were asking questions, I said, hey, I have a question. I go, why did you change the ending? And he was kind of shocked that anyone knew this. He's like, how many people here have seen the alternate ending? And there was me and my three buddies and maybe four other people. And we all raised our hand and he's like, well, we just thought, like, he said something like, we just thought he was such like a dick. He deserved that ending. Like the changed ending, which I really didn't understand. Like, if he was that much of a dick, he should have got the one where he slept too long.
Right.
But he was shocked that any of us knew what it was.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. And it adds a lot to it. I have a whole bunch of stories about Army of Darkness that we will whole lot. Some encounters that I had that were kind of strange.
Yeah.
So, but here we have Linda dancing.
And by the way, Sam Raimi did go to Michigan State.
Okay, you didn't? All right. I assumed he did. Yeah. Or why would you pick Michigan State and not Michigan or the directional school or wherever you went? So, but I know Bruce Campbell did not.
Yeah.
She is really hot. I got to give her that. All right. Sorry, that's me being a pig. And I believe this is where he says the give me some sugar, baby.
Yeah, yeah. Did we already had the scene with the backstory with the professor? Did that already happen? Because I think that was part of the retelling with the Castle Kandahar and all that stuff.
No, because he hasn't listened to the Real to Real yet.
Oh, okay.
He's about to listen to the Real to Real.
Yeah.
Because here's a picture of his daughter. Which we all had grandparents or parents that had this style picture of an aunt and uncle. And she's hot too.
Well, yeah, of course.
I have a lot of. So this is where he listens, and here's the Necronomicon just sitting right here.
Yeah, just sitting right there, right?
The Real to Real. Yeah, and he just hits play. You know, Power's still running everything. I still wonder. He never really explains how he
knew about the cabin.
Yes, like he just knew that there's this cabin.
And that nobody would be there. I mean, that was just odd that nobody. How did he know that no one would be there? Because technically, there should have been somebody there.
Especially considering there's power and everything.
Right. Yeah.
You know. So yeah, he starts playing this.
Random diorama. We are
And
watching Evil Dead 2.
So this is where he's going through how they found it.
Yeah, go
yes,
through the
random. Yes. So this is evil. Us just discussing Evil Dead 2 because we have no lives, and it's just an awesome movie.
It's a great movie. Yes.
So yeah. So this is them finding it. Him, Henrietta. I don't remember the other names. I just remember Henrietta was his wife's name.
Yeah. Yeah. Henrietta, and that's the wife, and then the daughter is Annie, and then Ed is the blonde guy.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, the moment you open this book, if I saw this book, I'd be like, I ain't reading this shit.
Yeah, don't read it. Don't read it out loud. I mean, just hey, this is weird. Let's put it down, and it needs to go somewhere else. It's made with human skin and blood. Come on.
Yeah, so this is him reading through it. So this is during the reel to reel, and now this is where we start getting all the deadites coming. You can see my LED light down here shining off my TV. If you guys haven't figured out, this is pictures of my TV. You can see Zartan right here on the soundbar.
Oh, great shadow picture. Awesome. You didn't even crop it or nothing. Perfect. That's an awesome border to have MST3K with your Joe sitting there watching with you. And then we get that
smashes through the window.
Yeah, we get that famous camera shot going through the woods and then running up through there to smash through everything and possess Linda.
Yep. And he hears it. Now, I don't know why is she in the other room dancing? I don't understand. Like, they were just in the same room. Like, why are they not together? But
you're thinking too much about continuity. Come on, man.
That's right. We gotta get to the story. So the window's smashed out. He's shocked. Doesn't know what's going on. And then we see possessed Linda, who just pops up. Possession is a few things I fully don't understand in this movie. Yep. And if you looked in my latest Buzzer video, or not even the Buzzer video, but the pictures, I do have Buzzer cutting her head, like happens later on in this movie. So this is where okay, so this is the shovel that just lops off her head.
Yep.
I don't know if shovels do it.
Okay, if you're a zombie deadite type of thing, you probably fall apart a little easier.
She hadn't rotted. She's been rotting less than like 2 minutes. I mean, I understand The Walking Dead, yes, but so this is so this is where she's about to jump at him, I think, right?
Yeah.
So here she's jumping. Hey, again, these are pictures me taking. We're archaic here. We are DIY. Yeah. Do it yourself.
Yep. Boomer time.
Not to mention, looking at the shovel, it's not even like a straight shovel. Probably would have just broke her neck, but
yeah. Either way, it's good. So then he cuts her head off.
So yeah, and he buries head goes her. Rolling. He buries her,
and then she bit his hand, right? Was that what it was?
No.
Okay.
No. That's not for a while.
Okay. Oh, okay. This is just the
hair should have stopped the shit.
The evil spirit or whatever that's roaming around the woods tosses Ash through the woods when he's out there. And then into the pool where he gets covered in mud and gets possessed.
Again, he was flying through the woods, spinning around, which is such awesome Awesome special effects. Now again, remember, this is a bunch of college students that went back to do Evil Dead. They're kind of redoing the Evil Dead. And we talked about this. There was a point they realized this is no longer a real movie.
Right. Yeah.
He smashes into a tree. This guy takes a lot of abuse. All right. He takes more abuse than fucking Batman being bounced around and shit, or Iron Man in his suit. Lands in the water.
I mean, Bruce Campbell is practically a stunt man.
Yeah. So now he wakes up possessed. Because a lot of time has elapsed. Because you went all through the night. See, you got it perfectly there. But then the light comes up and he converts back.
Yeah, the sun scares off the demons.
Expounded on in any of the other.
Well, he talks about it a little bit because
I'll wait till this.
That's what they're trying to do, is that they have to survive until the sun comes up next. That's it.
Yeah.
He actually kind of says it later in the movie. But yeah.
But going into the next movies, it doesn't really mean anything. It's like it's completely forgotten.
Well, they did actually somewhat address it in Army of Darkness, as back in the past, the Deadites had more power and sway because they were closer to the surface, and people were more dealt with the demon world more. Back then.
So here's her cross. He's already buried her. And in this shot, you can see this is the fog kind of retreating. And here comes his milky eyes that are changing back to being normal. And then he just kind of freaks out, and boom, he wakes up. And
he wakes up, but he's back to being Ash, and then he hears the voices that says, "Join us," and he's like, "Nope, I'm out of here."
Yeah. Yeah, so here's the eyes. Again, don't make a lot of sense, but hey, we're not here to make sense of movies. We're here to talk about how great they are. Jumps in his car. This cabin seems to be pretty far away from the bridge.
Yeah, it seems to be quite a bit. Yeah, there's a lot of
he goes flying
there.
And so
bridge is gone.
Then here is this.
Looks like a hand.
It's just like a hand. Like that's all I think of. It's like Cobra Commander's hand. Yeah.
And so he realizes he can't leave, and then all of a sudden the sun goes down 5 minutes after being up. It just went
again. Down. Time is a little bit different here in the Evil Dead world.
This must be Doctor Who, timey-wimey.
So now what's kind of weird is that like this looks way closer than before.
Yeah.
What happened to the two pedestals that were there?
The whole thing was just ripped right out of the ground, man. It just blew up into pieces. I also think it's funny that Ash runs all the way back to get back into the cabin, thinking that the cabin is some kind of protection from what's going on out there. I don't know which would be safer, since the evil seemed to be coming from the cabin.
I'm with you there. So as you said, the sun just starts going down. For some reason, like we said, he just woke up. Maybe he was knocked out almost the whole day. I find that hard to believe, but
yeah, that would be a major concussion and brain trauma, and there'd be a lot of other problems to worry about, especially because he was face down in the mud.
Yeah, he may have drowned, right. But hey, we're not here to make sense. As Fatrid says here, it just works. Todd Howard. So he jumps in the car and it starts coming after him. And this guy is he is a stunt driver. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's flying backwards as fast as possible. Again, I always wonder, what is it that he sees, though? We never really discuss what he sees.
That's
it's just
right.
there.
Is it this nebulous cloud that's chasing him? Is it, we have no idea what's chasing him other than the cameraman.
So, again, he turns the car around because there was so much space. Right. That part I kind of couldn't stop laughing, because that car is a big ass car, and the road is like this big. I'm like, you did not turn it around. All right, you didn't.
That is a boat.
Yes, that is. I believe, the Love Shack car. Actually, that's an Oldsmobile. Now it's completely dark. Like, this is the fastest sunset I've ever seen in my entire life. And you're right.
Well, that's how
he goes running into the cabin.
That's how long it takes him to get from the bridge to the cabin.
Okay. Well, driving backwards, I would assume so.
Yeah, right.
Now, this cabin is huge. I don't understand. Like, I don't own a cabin. So can someone fill me in? Is this how cabin walls are? That there's a break between the outside wall and the inside walls? Because there's 2 feet in between these, like,
it really depends on
the outside.
It really depends on the where in the world you are when you built your cabin, as to what kind of walls you put in it. Like, if you're up anywhere where it snows real heavy, you probably put a couple layers in there. Yeah.
Okay. Because in Encanto, isn't it Encanto on Disney? Bruno lived in the walls for many, many, many years. So
yeah, well, that was like a mansion too. It was a living house, so it probably made those spaces for him.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for my daughter to bust in here and start singing. We don't sing about Bruno. We don't speak about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno.
I love the fact that the thing can't find him. And the best part is, it's looking for him. It's going back and forth. It looks down. Now he's in the cellar.
Why he goes into the cellar? This doesn't make any sense, especially for what happens later.
Well, he didn't know yet.
But it's still there.
Gotten that far. What?
But it's still there.
But he doesn't know that yet.
Yeah. Back at the airport,
so then we
see Annie Nobly and Ed Gently, and they land, and they've got new pages of the Book of the Dead. I don't know how you get new pages from that, but they haven't spoken to her dad in a week, and so they're off to find Dad and get all excited about these new pages of the Book of the Dead.
Yes, it is odd how, like, where the new pages come from. Why were they not with the book?
Right.
I mean, why didn't they find them at the time? But so she's extremely happy. This is by far probably the most expensive that they used on the whole budget of the movie, because they had to have a plane in the background.
Yeah, so that airplane was expensive.
I love that they're framed. It's like a framed jersey signed by Barry Sanders, or your favorite athlete. But they signed the Necronomicon spare pages. Now, NECA should make this too.
Yeah, they should. What? The addendum to the Book of the Dead. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they keep making the different Ash figures. They should give like different parts of the book with it.
Well, we know how well they do with the books that open with the Gargoyles ones. They could make one of the Book of the Dead and have some of those pages in there.
They could do it like, well, not a starter pack, but an accessory pack.
Yeah,
so I don't care how big this car is. This trunk was not going to fit into it, and that trunk was going to close.
Oh, come on, man. You know how much a 1970s Michigan piece of steel, how big that trunk is, man? You could put 6 bodies in there.
Well, I know, but this trunk is so damn big. This is like when you say, "Oh, you know what? I like this figure more than that one." You're not saying that other figure is bad. I'm not saying this trunk isn't huge. I'm pointing out how big this case is.
So they
So here
strap it on top,
back in
clamp
the
it style,
house,
right?
and we see the. Well, then that would have ruined the whole arc of how they get it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here we have the homemade cross of Linda. He's just in. He's sitting in there. He's passed out again. This guy should be well rested. Like he spent a lot of time out in the past 2 days, right?
Yeah, we start getting that awesome new piano music coming in.
Yep.
The creepy piano playing.
Something's gonna happen with the animals. That these things are just creepy. I'm sorry. Like if I was in there, like this would have made me be like, you know what? Let's go find a hotel somewhere.
I never much cared for taxidermied stuff, that's for sure. And then Ash has Linda's necklace.
Yeah, but you just cut off the head and then you mount. I just not my style.
Nah, yeah, no, not so much.
So here he is, kind of stumbling around. He's hearing shit because, well, again, it is the Evil Dead, and this guy is going nuts.
Yeah, they really
piano starts playing.
They really do play up that he's going mad stuff with the way they shoot things and the way they do the facial expressions and everything.
Oh yeah, and he acts absolutely wonderful. I mean, he's a much better actor than what I think most people would give him credit for like the roles that he's done. And he embraces this, and he still embraces it to this day. That he is known as Ash, even though he said he's retired it. But I think Sam's trying to talk him out of it and do one more. The fact that Sam Raimi wants to do another one of these after he's done the Spider-Man movies, and then he just did what, Doctor Strange?
Well, so he didn't really do Doctor Strange if you break it down, because that was a corporate-made movie, and he had like 3 little pieces of influence in it, but everything that was Sam Raimi was ripped out of that movie except for those 4 little tiny things. All the rest of it was corporate made. So man.
There's a lot of Evil Dead in that. There's still a lot of Evil Dead in it.
Sort of.
But either way, what I'm saying is he's a very successful actor. I mean, director, and he is all about being willing to do another one.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome.
Yep.
So here we have the necklace. That I don't know if I just murdered my ex, or well, she wasn't my ex till then. I don't know if I'd be keeping anything. I think I would want it all hidden.
Well, I mean, he's not thinking like that. He's thinking like this is a memento of who she was. But yeah, you just murdered her. So yeah.
Well, good luck explaining that. My name is like good luck explaining that.
Have you seen the movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
No. I know what you're talking about, though.
That movie is awesome and hilarious and plays on all those kinds of tropes. It's really, you should watch it sometime. It's awesome.
I remember when it came out, and I remember wanting to see it. I don't know why I never did.
Yeah, he was.
I really like Burn Notice in general. I thought that was a really good show. It was the 2000s version of the A-Team.
Yeah.
And I thought it played out really well, and I liked the actor that played, what was his name? Sam was Bruce Willis, Bruce Willis. It was Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Fiona was the hot, with the accent. Was it Cagney or Lacey that was the mom? And who was Burn Notice?
I don't know. I didn't watch very much of it, but I did want to because he was in it, and I heard it was good. But
it was really good. He's supposed to be a former Navy SEAL. Still finding that a little hard to believe.
He's got the chin for it.
All right. So here we're about to see Linda. Oh, he does. But he was out of shape. Like, he was pretty fat, Matt. Like, not fat, but he was pretty big. Like,
Dad bod.
So Linda's about to come back. And thank God, because we're all like, oh, Linda could have just ended, right?
Well, you notice how they went.
Yeah, it's going to drive me
too.
nuts, Patrick.
Yeah, the cross fell over, and then she starts coming up. So they had to knock the cross over first.
And this is really good. This is a good use of stop motion.
Mm-hmm.
So she pops up. Now she's completely naked. I don't know, like, why is she naked? Like, why did he strip her? But she doesn't stay naked the whole time because
the ground took her clothes away. That's what happened. The ground just kind of melted her clothes away as she was coming up through it.
So she starts dancing.
Yeah, this is what Star Trek decided to steal with.
This was
Lieutenant Uhura's dance.
Well, this is. She's headless, and then I love the way the head rolls, and she leans over and just like picks the head back up.
Yep. Yeah,
it's still one of those things. Like, even like, I remember watching it when we were younger, and we just had such a good time with it. Like, this movie was so funny, but when you really watch what they did on such a small budget, it's pretty good. Like, she does get a wonderful dance. She does the twirl where her head doesn't turn, which is still creepy.
Yeah.
She does the head rolls off. They did so many cool little things, okay?
Yeah, the stop
motion. And I love that the body is so decayed, but the face.
Yeah, and then the stop motion face in the second movie was awesome. They did a real Harryhausen type of thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the head isn't as decayed, but the body is super decayed. And then she just disappears. And she just disappears and then pops right up, which I absolutely love. And the surprised look on him again. And here she's like, they're like, all right, no makeup for you. You can see the bodysuit that she's wearing.
Right, yeah.
Where it's supposed to look like the head decapitated. But you can fully tell that's some sort of bodysuit that she has on. And I love how they do this. He is such a, like, when you go back to, like, talk about Three's Company, and they talk about how John Ritter was such a physical comedian. He is so physical throughout this whole, like, everything that he's doing. This was probably what, two hands, and he's doing everything, on his own here. Just like when he's fighting with his hand later on. Yeah. Then her head falls off.
She laughs. She literally.
And then he's back in the chair. Like, he dreamt this whole thing.
Yep.
Yes. So he's back in the chair. So obviously there was some time lapse there that they don't fill in, and that's fine. I mean, I don't really need it filled in. And then Linda just pops in his lap. And now this is where she bites the hand.
Yeah, there we go.
This is truly biting the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, he runs around with her attached to his hand as he's running through the cabin, trying to get her off.
And again, you got it by you. That's the head. I wish they would have done this with the NECA figure.
Oh, that would have been
They
awesome.
should have done a head biting onto the hand, because that was such an iconic point for this. But yeah, here he goes trying to fight it off, and you get one of the and even as a kid, I remember this. He added in where he says workshop. Oh yeah, I mean, how they decided that we should add that in. Like, we're gonna figure it out, right? Like all this other stuff that you've left out, but we need that filled in. So he ends up going outside. I don't really remember seeing too much of this, like in the other shots. Like, where was this during the whole other,
Yeah, there's no establishing type of thing or whatever. But remember, he grabs the shotgun.
She's still biting him.
Right, because you can't get got to find some way to get that off of there. So he's looking around trying to find everything and keeps looking.
He puts her in the vice, which I don't understand why she let him go, but did it hurt her?
If you squeeze the jaw,
where's the vice at? Why do you not give us a vice?
Right, exactly. If you squeeze the jaw hard enough, it's got to open, right?
I guess you'd eventually shatter it, right?
Yeah, eventually.
So he's just basically like, right now he's going Joss Whedon on her. He is yelling at her, like she's an actress for Buffy and Angel, being mean to her. Sorry, Allison. We call it Ash Joss the rest of the. And I did not get a shot. So chainsaw, I didn't get a shot of that. He opens up the chainsaw. There's a white chalk mark around it.
Yep. Where you put a white chalk mark, like you forgot
and then
where you are supposed to put the chainsaw. You got to outline all of your tools and where they belong on the rack, and so you got to outline a chainsaw. Chainsaw goes here.
Not to mention, how many people are coming in this cabin other than Ash and his girlfriend, and maybe Bobby Joe?
Yeah, well, technically, none of them should be going in the cabin because this is the old man's cabin and his wife, and they go out there, and it should be just the two of them, right?
Yeah.
Not even these people.
Exactly. But they just know where it's at. Ash just knows where it's at. Probably from the first movie, he remembered where it's at. So
yeah, that's gotta be it.
I always love this. She comes in, only the body. She's trying to direct where it's at, which I don't know how it can hear anything, but whatever. It's a deadite. Not holding the chainsaw properly. It's just flying all over. And this is where I truly do believe they said that this is not a real movie. I think this was the part they said, fuck it. Blood is going all over. All right. Now this is about fun. And thank God they did it, because I think it was the right move. Because there's a lot of blood in this movie.
Well, it's a splatter film.
Like the makings of the stuff. Yeah, and if you watch the making of it, they talk about how cold it was, and it just sounds miserable. Absolutely miserable.
But we got to get Ash to his boomstick. His boomstick's coming up.
So, trying to figure out what I got here.
He's fine with it. Got to get the boomstick. Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's got the chainsaw, And this is where she starts begging with him, that she loves you, and then turns right back to being a deadite, and talks about having Linda's soul. And this one, I recreated the buzzer scene without the uh, without the vice grip, and he just can't take it. But then, like, the deadite comes back, and he's like, "All right, I'm cutting your head in half."
Right.
And there was a lot.
Got to have the blood splatter. That's what it's for.
Which is what I would do.
Yeah. You got to get. Yeah, I mean, it's creepy as all get out. You got to cut it up in little pieces.
All right.
You got to have Mirror Ash coming up, right?
So once again, he kind of
get the scene where he's looking in the mirror and alternate Ash has to jump out at him.
He hasn't gotten there yet, because this is where he gets the chainsaw. He grabs a shotgun.
Boomstick.
Then everything kind of starts moving again, right? Yep. He reaches out, and everything stops.
There we go.
This is when he talks to himself and says, "We're fine.
I'm fine." I don't.
And that's when his self
I don't
repeats.
think so. We just cut off our girlfriend's head and cut it in half with a chainsaw. That doesn't mean we're fine. It doesn't sound fine to me.
Does that sound fine? And I really do like this, and I like the fact that they play on multiple Ashes come Army of Darkness. Newfie, what are you talking? You don't love this movie still? This is, I mean, if it wasn't a good movie, we wouldn't be discussing, breaking it down, going over it. Once again. And I gotta say, they do pretty good for having such a low budget of making this look pretty good. That he's looking looking at himself and everything. So, kind of looks better than the Army of Darkness one, because that doesn't look anything like him.
Yeah, that's for sure. Unfortunately.
So here's where the hand starts to go crazy. It starts getting infected. Where's my hand at?
It's right here. I got
one. My hand here. But his hand starts getting crazy. Oh, okay. I have it. Well, how's that? Now I gotta find it. Now it's gonna drive me nuts. Been a decade. We tell you what movie we're gonna watch. You guys are supposed to watch it and then comment on it. So I think the acting in this is awesome. I think this physical acting that he is doing, the way he makes the hand be itself, the way it attacks him. Is there one of us that, hey,
I practiced this as a kid. I mean, I took direct scenes from this movie and practiced.
Yeah. And that is not funny. All right? It is not funny, but you might be right. I think we all did. And if we all didn't get on our bed and grab our hair and make ourselves flip, either you're a liar or you were really fat. I'm sorry. I'm just being mean now, but I mean, come on. We all grabbed our hair on our bed and flipped ourselves, right? Some of us might have even done it on like grass.
Yeah.
But this whole physical part, I think, is absolutely awesome. He plays it amazingly. I don't know if anyone else has ever done it before this. I'm sure there was, but the way he grabs it, the way that the nails grew, so it had its own characteristic. I still think it is one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah,
and the fact that you can see that he's just so, he's so mad about it. Like he's so mad they're taking his hand. Like they're just taking piece after piece of him. They've pretty much forced him to kill his girlfriend twice. Which, just be honest, I mean, OJ probably would have been happy to do it twice.
Ooh.
Technically, OJ did do the first thing. He pretty much did the same thing for the first time. So then we see. So this part makes me laugh. So they pull up to the bridge. They see the car here. This guy's putting a sign up there. Says, no one is passing. Oh, Fatrid. It's never too soon.
That one is not too soon.
Listen, I've already put one above Susan Summers dying. It's never too soon. All right? Don't make me get into the Robin Williams thing. Maybe I'll tell that on
member stream,
because something shouldn't be told here. So they pull up here. He says, "You're not passing this," and they're getting all mad. And then he has to turn his brights on. Like their lights weren't bright enough to see that this thing was.
Hey, car headlights back then. Hey, car headlights back then were garbage. You know this. I mean, they couldn't see nothing.
He's like 10 feet away from it. Oh, no, I like Fatrid. Oh, Fat Red. I get it. You're Fat Red. F you. Right? Is that right? Not Fatrid? I like Fatrid, though. You're Fatrid now. I'm Jim Rome. I just glossed you. Fatrid. Here's Bobby Joe. Watching this again. Bobby Joe is not only hot in this, but I looked up other things that Bobby Joe has done, and Bobby Joe remained hot for quite some time. And Bobby Joe has done a lot. I would not have known who Bobby Joe was by watching any show that she was on. But when I saw the pictures, I went, holy shit, Bobby Joe has done a lot.
Yep.
I would have to say Bruce Campbell is probably the only one that's done more than her. Because I don't know of anyone else that really did anything. Her cousin, not so hot. Although he's done a lot of stuff too. He's done a good amount of stuff too. It looks nothing like
cousin. Are you sure that's a cousin? I think that's a boyfriend, isn't it?
Hey, bro. That's what I meant. Cousin. Back to the hand. Again, I love this part. I think it's so good.
Hey, you missed the whole the toll, right? To take them down there to follow us and all that stuff. They pay him $100.
They go back to it, I believe.
The bridges.
I think they go. There's a lot of bouncing back and forth between these two. I might be wrong.
So I think this happens before this next scene that you have pictures of there, because they talk about the tow truck driver, and he says there's a trail, you can follow us, $100. And she's like, fine, if you take my bags. And he's like, sure. He looks in the back seat and sees the picture frame thing in her purse and says, sure, not realizing there's a freaking trunk there.
Now, I knew that I knew that he was mad because he ended up having to carry the trunk. Until I watched it this time, I never caught it. But he talks about how, like, look to the back, there's 2 bags. That's all I thought it was gonna be. Like, I never caught the dialogue of him bitching about what he thought that he saw and what he was actually carrying. So back to the hand, going absolutely nuts. You can see it decay even more. He tries to wash it off, because why wouldn't you try and wash it off? This cabin has running water and electricity.
Of course.
Once again, he passes out, and I think we all took a styrofoam plate, a paper plate, maybe even a plastic plate. I don't think any of us were stupid enough to do like a ceramic plate and try this. But I think we all smashed our head with this, right? We all did. We all did this.
Well, it's that,
And he's just smashing thing after thing.
He's got to smash and seltzer
punches
water.
himself in the face. Yeah. Punches himself in the gut. I think we all acted like we were smashing our head into something, right? Sometimes maybe we did it too hard and we went, oh, that was stupid.
Frisbee.
Yep. It's you know what? Yes, a frisbee. That is another good thing to use. But you know what? The frisbee in the plastic plate, it still hurt. Yep. And did any of us not do this? Did any of us not?
But it's impossible. You can't actually do that. It doesn't work that way. You don't have that much hand strength.
No, but if no one sees your feet,
right?
Then you
yes.
can just kind of you move yourself very slowly, and then he cuts. And what I love about this is that when he stabs his hand, he still feels the pain.
Yeah,
but so does the hand.
Of course.
And then the ultimate time to chop off your arm. And let's be honest, this is where, I mean, if this doesn't happen, Army of Darkness is not as awesome as it is. We
Absolutely.
don't get groovy.
Yeah, no.
We don't get him whipping out a chemistry book for some odd reason that was in the trunk. I don't want to get too much into. I don't want to get too much into Army of Darkness. But yeah.
And then later on, of course, we get this, but that's much later.
Yes. Listen, we don't have bionic hands yet, but this guy made one back in the 1700s or 1600s or when was it? 1300s.
1300.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of blood that spurts. I think maybe a little too much, but hey.
You know what? So something that's really kind of interesting is the way that they do blood effects, and they describe them in horror movies, and everybody says, "Oh, that's unrealistic" or whatever. And you look at the Addams Family when they did that, and the Addams Family and stuff, and you look at actual medical science, and you're like, "Yeah, actually, that's fairly accurate. Your blood would spray kind of like that." And if you've been to a crime scene or seen that actually happen, that's why there's blood splatter everywhere, because arterial spray is pretty powerful.
Well, I mean, you're a doctor, so you would know better than I would. But I would assume so, considering when you look at blood pressure and how it's going through the veins, it's not like it's just a lazy river, right? I mean, it's got to have some pressure to it.
Yep.
I mean, it is pumping your heart. So, so did we determine this guy's name was Ed?
Ed Gently. Yep.
All right, so Ed, you die. By sorry, action. That's what you get for saying that the hand is with my rock and roll. Here's this guy carrying giant fucking case on his back. And this is where he makes that comment. And I didn't, again, like, oh my God. I never, as many times I watched this, I never heard him like making some comment, or maybe I did, I just forgot. But my blood is a lazy river. It does kind of remind me of Endgame, where Thor talks about what do you think's flowing through these veins, and he's like cheese whiz. So here's the hand. I absolutely this is better than anything the Addams Family could ever do. All right, this is so much better. Yeah, see, I have it around here somewhere. It's not with rock and roll. It's just probably in here. I don't know. It's somewhere around here.
Love it.
That's driving me nuts. You know what I'm going to be doing after the stream is looking for it. I love that the fan. I love that the hand is talking this whole time, and it's pissed. All right, it is pissed that it's losing. Yeah, it's pissed that it got stabbed. I don't know how noises are being made.
But it's cursing under its breath, so to
He
speak.
captures it, puts the book on.
Basket.
Yeah, he puts the book on and a farewell to arms. I mean, this is the type of shit that you're like, this is awesome. Like you know exactly what your movie is when you're doing this. A farewell to arms. And they make sure you can see it. It's not like it's hidden.
It's very prominent.
This was before people knew what Easter eggs were. I love that he just tapes it up. Once again, proving duct tape can fix anything. Duct tape
solves everything. Yeah, absolutely.
And once again, I don't know if I got a picture. He rips the duct tape with his teeth, which I think we've all done.
Absolutely.
So then you get the hand doing all kinds of things, and he's going after it, shooting at it, blowing holes just blowing holes. Again, all this stuff seems to like not even. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but hey.
Yeah.
Considering we've determined that between the two walls are like 2 feet.
Well, yeah, but, it's all funny because he's blowing all this stuff up, and they're playing this game of cat and mouse, and he's got the calls it out, son of a bitch. You know, he's just chasing it around, shooting it, trying to find out where it is. Blood spray everywhere.
As a doctor, he just cut his hand off with a chainsaw. There's really
that's too much trauma to take place. I mean, he'd go into shock right away.
But it doesn't look like he cauterizes it. It doesn't look like he did anything to stop the blood. Wouldn't this bandage be a little more bloody?
It'd be soaked through pretty darn quick. Yeah, that heart's still pumping pretty good, and there'd be blood spray everywhere, and he'd run out of blood and go into shock, and he'd be dead. Yes. Yeah.
Well, the one thing that we have learned is that there's a lot of blood in here. So maybe it's all old type. So maybe it's all old type blood.
And he just took it all in and just, absorbed it back into his body. And maybe he did cauterize it real fast because, maybe it was actually a lightsaber he used. The chainsaw had a lightsaber effect and just cauterized it at the same time.
Oh, maybe he's a Jedi too, like everyone else in Star Wars.
That's right. Everyone's a Jedi.
Again, the other script was Yoda saying there are many others.
Yeah, well, that's
I love
exactly
this.
What he said, but this is the cat and mouse. Yeah.
Oh no, he says there are many, many, many others. Again, you know what's about to happen. I love the fact that he gets caught on the mousetrap.
Animating. Yeah. Gets so pissed about that mousetrap.
He gets caught on the mousetrap. Again, so it is feeling pain. Now, when you look at it, you can see the two bones there. So they do a good job showing like the two bones that are sticking out there. It's actually kind of disgusting now that I look at it. Yeah, not Bruce Campbell. He's superhuman. That's right. Well, he's right on par with Arnold in most of his movies.
I mean, he's almost Chuck Norris legendary.
So he obviously hits it, and you see a little bit of blood start coming down. He kind of starts laughing.
That crazy face.
And this is really where they go, this.
Yeah, big blood spray.
And again, if you watch any of the back, like behind the scenes, they talk about like it was cold there. They were stuck in these these outfits, and And then it finishes, and then it sucks everything back in because that's how everything goes.
That's how it goes.
So now I'm going too fast.
Did it crash on you?
I can't. If I move too fast, I'm gonna have to mention to my boss again, like, hey, this computer coming anytime soon? It's got to be the computer. It's got to be. But there are I did take 400 pictures. I did take 400 pictures on my iPhone 14, so they were pretty big. So Harry's just kind of laughing. And I love this part. This is where he sits down, it breaks,
and the chair, kaboom, and just collapses. And the animal heads, there we go.
Yeah.
Animal heads start animating all over the place. Lamps and books, everything's talking to him. He's going mad. This is the Pee-wee's Playhouse version of everything. Yeah.
Yes. You have the lamp laughing. And I love the different laughs. They Popeye's laugh in it. There's a lot of Popeye. There was someone else I noted. Was it Pee-wee?
No, it wasn't Pee-wee, but it just reminded me of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah. But there is Popeye's laugh for sure. Yeah. Well, it's a laptop and it doesn't hold anymore. But you are correct. And it can be bad, it can be good. That's what you get. That's why I do things the way I do with my live streams now. Hopefully that will get taken care of. You have the books going nuts. All kinds of books.
It's where he's going crazy.
And I had a buddy, and I keep seeing this, and he used to imitate this.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, one of us are talking, but I had a buddy, and he imitated this, and I don't even know if he did it on purpose, but he imitated it so well, and he had this strong, the long face like him and everything. And every time I see this, the whole time I was watching, I saw my buddy Nick. Oh my God! Hold on.
There's Roman. Yeah, and then he's gonna start shooting everything here in a second. Shooting the door, shooting everything.
And there goes Roman. And I do love the dance. I think it's so funny. He gets into this. He's just completely lost it. He's dancing. He's got the gun, the one hand, the non-bloody stump. Again, then he hears something.
Yeah,
what does
got
the sign
to
say?
get ready.
The picture here.
Oh, I remember what the sign says, but I remember he shoots the door, and that's when all the new fun starts with everybody jumping in and tackling him and all that stuff.
Because it hit Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
And this blood doesn't. I don't know. The blood should have started to dry after a bit.
It's a possessed house full of deadites. The blood just sprays
and then here's Bobby Joe's cousin / boyfriend. And they beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. Well, no, what I really think is funny, go back to that for a second. What I think is really funny is that what's his name? Bobby Joe's wounded, but Jake jumps on top of him, but Bruce is still beating the heck out of him with one hand. He's in the down position, and he's just beating the heck out of him and winning before Jake gets some help from Ed.
And then she just jumps on him because clearly he did something to her parents. Doesn't know what it is.
Right.
Just he obviously did something to her parents. Which I guess is a safe assumption. I mean, this guy does have a shotgun. One hand. There's probably blood lying around somewhere.
There's blood everywhere, and he looks pretty crazy with the chainsaw and all kinds of stuff. You don't know where the blood came from. You don't know where all this stuff is.
Yeah.
What's going on. It's just all crazy.
And she just jumps on him. Like most women would be more in shock. But not her. Probably because she, has the other pages of the Necronomicon.
Maybe she's already been slightly possessed by it, right? Just trying to get her there.
But now she can collect all the riches herself. Since now her parents can't, because they'll all be dead.
She doesn't know that yet. She doesn't know that yet.
And of course, what do they? Yeah. So he pretty much gets knocked out, and they decide to throw him in the cellar.
Throw him in the cellar. Yep.
A few continuity issues here. He goes in the cellar and he smashes through most of the steps, which magically come back later.
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
So once again, he's knocked out.
And I hope you rot down there.
So, dude's still trying to get with his cousin. Like, man, don't worry, man. Me and Bobby Joe, who I once again will reiterate is smoking hot. As time went on. I do love Andy's little outfit here. It's really cute. Why you're going into the woods like this, I don't know.
She wasn't intentionally going into the woods. They just got
there.
off a big flight travel, and they just traveled a long distance. So this is our traveling clothes for flying on the airplane and stuff. It's not cabin wear, but that's where they went directly.
Yeah, I don't know where they were going to sleep in the cabin, but, Or were they even going to the cabin originally? Or just because they couldn't get a hold of her parents?
Yeah, because they couldn't get a hold of her parents, and so they were headed towards the cabin because they knew that her dad would have all that information, and they had the other pieces of it, and so they were trying to match everything up and try to get to him and find out what's going on.
All right. So this is where they start playing the rest of the reel-to-reel. And she's listening to her dad's voice.
And that's when you learn what happens to.
And of course, it's loud enough that. Yeah. And of course, it's loud enough that Bruce can hear it. No one says anything about the rats that are living there. Like their cabin was full of rats, and no one seemed to care.
They were downstairs in the basement. They had mouse traps around and stuff like that. It's just, it's fine. It's whatever.
And Bruce is listening. And I love the fact that, he hid down there, and Henrietta didn't come out then, but she waits till she hears her husband's voice.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. I was like, wait a minute. Why shouldn't this have happened earlier? Just because he was down there? I mean, wouldn't the Deadites have known that?
and he buried her pretty well. I got to say that. I mean, better than Bruce, burying Linda.
Well, so one of them was a pro and one of them wasn't.
And here comes Henrietta. One of them was on their like fourth wife, then all just mysteriously disappeared. And you know who this is, right?
Yeah, I do. That's Sam's brother. Yeah. And
So
Sam's
what's
in it
funny is
later
that
too.
I never really paid. What?
Sam Raimi's in this
What'd you say?
later also Sam Raimi is in it later. At the
Yeah.
when he goes back into the past, Sam is actually in that scene.
Yeah. Now I never really paid attention to it, but when I'm watching it, I've seen him on so many things with Bruce Campbell and different things. I was like, oh, I never noticed that's Sam Raimi's brother. And I know I've read, I've watched stuff about it, but I found it interesting because you can actually see it. You can see the face, like you can see it in the face that it is his brother. And here he is screaming. And they just assume, like, hey, you know what? This must be right. And the rednecks are like, no, don't let him out. No, he's faking it. But they are determined, like, no, there must be something. Now, why they can't hear Henrietta talking?
Well, they do later.
It
comes up later. Yeah, right. It does come up later that they can hear her or see her, or whatever. But when she tries to bump through the cellar.
Now this is total Pee Wee Herman. This is Pee Wee's Playhouse, or Pee Wee's. Isn't it? No, Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
I don't remember what changes in Pee Wee's. I remember it because it's been so long since I've seen that. But there is a face that changes, very similar.
Well, you might be thinking of Beetlejuice also, because they had similar effects in Beetlejuice.
Maybe I thought Pee Wee's Big Adventure had one too.
Maybe. Either
way, this was done well before then.
Yeah.
Then the head pops up. I love the head. It's just like it's bobbing back and forth. They grab his head. Large Marge. Thank you, DJ. Yes, Large Marge. They grab Bruce by the head and they just pull him straight up. And then this thing goes crazy. It reaches up, grabs this guy, throws him with one hand. Though it can't get out of the cellar. That's what's crazy. Why can't it get out of the cellar?
Yeah.
It just can't. And they close the door. I love this part. It's
so cool.
They jump on it. The eye goes flying right into Bobby Joe's mouth. Now, at that point, I'd be like, I'm out of here. All right? Like, I got an eye in my mouth.
Absolutely. Just, forget this. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah. There ain't no fucking mouthwash here. Find me a toothbrush. I don't care if it's someone else's toothbrush. But I'm assuming it's not the first round thing she had in her mouth.
Doesn't appear to be.
She knows that it's her mom. She heard her dad basically say so. Yeah, she seems pretty good with this. Like she's a tough woman, man. Like she realizes, dad just killed, mom, buried in the cellar.
Hey,
and then
Lawrence,
here we have
hold on a second. I'm gonna back out for a second and come back in and see if I can fix this whole lag thing, because it's starting to drive me a little nuts how off we are. I'll be right back.
All right, so we never really get a good idea if I'm going to do something really quick here. We never really get an idea if what they're seeing. And I know we discussed this a little bit earlier. But yeah, we never really get a full idea if like what they're seeing is like if they're actually seeing something, if it's just the um the mist or whatever it is. But here we go again. It's coming in rushing really hard, really fast. And there's Bruce again, just kind of, he knows shit's happening.
Let's see if that's any better.
All right. No, you're still off.
Okay.
Am I off?
Then it's probably you. Probably you. Anyway, I don't know.
It wasn't off early. Sometimes you're off and sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
He said what was done on purpose, that we wouldn't know what it is. Yeah. But I still want to know what they're seeing. So Bobby Joe's freaking out, and I don't blame her. She just did have an eyeball in her mouth. Bruce, I mean, he's as cool as fucking, he's cool as anything. So now we have not Sam Raimi's brother. Hold on, let me back out and see if I come back in, if it fixes anything.
Okay. Yeah, I just love how Sam includes all the same people in all of his movies, and you can really tell the difference between Henrietta and then the Raimi's brother version of Henrietta, the zombie version, and how much he does as the character. Just being all active and just yelling, screaming, being the stunt performer. It's pretty cool.
All right, is that any better for you?
I don't know. What do you think?
Right now it looks good. Okay. I'm never late when I'm watching myself. I'm never late, but I can start to see you get to be late.
Yeah, my internet's been a little funky today, so it definitely could be me today. So
okay. So there's Henrietta. She starts telling her like when she was born, it was snowing. It'd be so odd that it would be snowing in September. Must not. Well, which okay. I'm about to say must not be from fucking Michigan, but they are. Listen, that shit happens all the time here in Michigan. All right, it snows, and the next thing you know, it's 70 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, but the good thing is that you may not think this, but Annie knows that this is not my mother. Like she's like being pulled towards it, but at the same time, she's aware enough to know that's not her.
Almost like Annie was conditioned, like, hey, by her dad, like, hey, just so you know, one wants to turn into a fucking deadite, and it won't be your mom. Well, I love that Ed is just fucking lazy as shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He's got a fucking.
They did get the information earlier, and so she's probably still processing all that stuff that was on recorded tape that her dad said about mom and what had happened. Yeah. So maybe that's sinking in. But yeah, Ed gently is the loafer on the couch there.
He's the one you don't want in the woods with you. All right.
He's definitely a city boy.
And here's where Bruce kind of like.
Yeah, and he's trying to convince everybody.
Look at that chin. Like, if that chin tells you something, like, you're gonna believe it, whether he's lying to you or not.
It's on the chin. It's on the chin. And basically, this is also where he comes in and basically says,
more Henrietta.
We'll be dead by dawn, but we got to stay here.
Yep. And here's where she's emphatic. Like, that thing in the cellar is not my mother. Or technically, it is your mom. We did establish that. It's just possessed.
It is her body. Just, what's coming out of her is no longer her. Yeah. And then Ash runs off.
And then
right?
Here comes her fiance, boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. He must have taken the headband off. He no longer has a concussion. It bites her hair. I love when it bites the hair. So here it just is floating.
And this is when Ash runs off, and she's like, "What,
So she's trying
coward!"
to get out. Like they could get. Yes. And I love that it just bites her hair. Like doesn't get an ear, just her hair, and then it leaves. It's a big chunk of her hair. And this face is just. This doesn't look like
Perfect.
a mangled up pussy. I don't know what.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's funny.
Down south, we already discussed that at the beginning. Yes, Army of Darkness will be in 2 weeks, so no need to worry because it leaves with a cliffhanger, and we have to get that. Hopefully, I'll have some of this shit taken care of. This is bad this week. Go figure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once again, we get the head that just turns around. I'm sorry. Anytime they do these head turns around, a matter of fact, yesterday, after I finished watching something, UHF came on, and I watched the Indiana Jones part where his head turns around, and I just laugh every time because it looks so fake and stupid.
UHF
But
is
UHF,
awesome.
we know it's
I love
supposed
it.
to, but oh, that's a movie we got to talk about eventually.
Yeah.
The light that his head gets slammed up into it probably would have cut into him a little bit, but it doesn't.
Like a kingpin in a car door.
So here's where he runs away. She calls him a coward. What?
Like a
If I remember,
kingpin in
she
a
calls
car
him a
door.
fucking coward, actually.
Yeah, she does.
All right. Then he comes back with the axe, and he now has green blood for some reason, but whatever. It's
Yeah,
the only
I
time we
never
get green
understood
blood. Like they must
why
have
it
run
went
out
back
of
to
bread
green
or
blood.
something.
Yeah, I don't know if they ran out of materials or what. Like, it just doesn't make any sense because they went from red to a little bit of black, and now all of a sudden it's green. What are we doing here?
Yeah, and I know they do talk about why it's black and it had to do with what they were using, but the black makes sense because it could just be the lighting, the shading, whatever. But it does get really dark. And here's where they notice that the trail they came in is just gone. So
Yeah, which is weird because how does a
so the
trail in
trail
the
is.
middle of the forest just disappear?
No, I mean, why did no one see it before? To leave. Why did Ash not see it to leave before?
When they go into the other
So,
room, the open
trying
room,
to remember. I
yeah,
didn't take notes because I was
gotta get yeah. Well,
busy.
going into the other room, and Ash, everybody's like, "You go." Nobody else wanted to go with him, and then Annie says that we'll go together.
Yes.
Jake's like, "Hell no, you're the curious one." No, he doesn't want to go, and he's like, "I'll go with you." And they go into the room, and then for whatever reason, Jake and Bobby Joe just bust in while they're in the middle of the room.
Yeah, am I the only one that is kind of in agreement with Jake? Like, all right, listen, let's all sit in this room, get as many weapons as we have, and we'll fight off anything that we have. And come daytime, we're getting the fuck out of here. Now, I don't know. Do you go report this to police? Do you go find? I mean, Fox and Molnar weren't around yet, so you can't really go talk to them. I don't know who you go talk to, but.
Yeah, there's nobody to talk to about this stuff. I mean, you tell the cops, they're going to tell you you're a bunch of crazy people and lock you all up, and go out to the cabin and figure out who was murdered when and where, and do autopsies on everybody and figure out you all a bunch of murderers and every one of you is going to jail.
I forget what happened here. God, what did I miss here?
Well, you've got the whole entering the room thing, and then you have the spirit contact. that they want to destroy you and all that other stuff. But they get a valuable piece of information from the spirit that's coming through there about the passages in the book can dispel the evil. And then we get the Jake, you're holding my hand too tight, and he's like, I'm not holding your hand.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, okay. So this is where they get all that stuff.
Yep.
And this is like Superman talking to his dad. Isn't this like watching? You know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
yeah.
This part never made a lot of sense. But again, it's there. We're not here to make sense of this movie.
You have to give the audience
the
hope.
pages that we're looking for.
Characters have to have hope and hope that things work out. Yeah. So they have to give something to move the story forward with the Superman ghost voice of Sam Raimi's brother again.
And it's really some stupid dialect. Like, it really is. Like, he's just trapped, right? But he's not a deadite. But his soul is like trapped. And here's where she gets the, I'm not holding your hand.
Yeah.
And the hand is back. It brings a whole new meaning to the term "talk to the hand."
Hand job.
But again, you look at the bone hanging out there. I mean, and for some odd reason, she goes running outside.
Dumbest thing ever.
I mean, I don't know how panicked I would be, but I feel like running outside would not help. Now, mind you, this is not Evil Dead 1, where she gets penetrated by a tree.
That was pretty graphic. Yeah,
this is just one where she gets. Yes, and I guess they recreate that in the Evil Dead play. I've never seen it. My buddy Nick, that I said he reminds me of, he used to go and see it like every year that it came out, and he said they recreate the penetration scene with the tree.
Oh wow!
I'm like, how do they do it? He's like, you just got to go see it.
Wow.
I don't know how often we get trees that come to life other than in Lord of the Rings, but they all do. And they pretty much just take her, and I would assume off camera they probably did some pretty bad things to her. Just my guess. But they do a really good job with like making this disgusting.
Yeah.
So they drown.
Yep. Gotta get rid of them.
But I always forget which one it happens. Oh, very true. Yes. Allison, yes. Poltergeist, yes.
Yeah.
Another creepy movie I do not like watching. I do not like the clown scene. To this day, I cannot stand the clown scene.
No. Yeah, no, it's hard to watch, I think.
Even with Coach Fox.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they just dropped this to get the books out. If they had Chunk there, they could have just tricked Chunk into dropping the book, or dropping it. Jake is trying to find Bobby Joe, and Bruce is just like, or Ash is just like, dude, she's dead. Like, she's fucking dead. Just deal with it.
Absolutely.
We've all lost someone today.
We don't need to worry about this. We just got to wait till morning. We'll all be good. And Jake just freaks out and holds everybody hostage.
You know, Ash is like, dude, I lost my girlfriend. She's lost her fiance and parents. Dude, deal with it. Like, we've all lost.
Right. Yeah. No kidding.
Now, I will say I never noticed, and probably because we all watched on I've never watched on a high definition TV in a big TV, that this is Bruce Campbell right here. I never
Oh,
saw, I
did.
never noticed these
Yeah.
pictures before.
I saw that picture and I'm like, oh, they're trying to set something up because that's clearly Bruce in there as they're going through the whole story of the hero from the Sky Destroyer evil first passing flesh manifestation. Oh, you get the levels of the spirit because they get the spell that they're going to read.
Yeah.
And the first passage is about flesh manifestation. The second one is opening the rift, and then they've got to get the thing through the rift. So we have our way out now.
Yeah, and I do remember like when they're telling it, when I was younger, like they were kind of explaining it. But when I watched it this time, I heard the in depth even more. And it really goes, wow, he really had this movie already set up. He already had Army of Darkness. It was set up. And I never noticed the picture.
Prepared. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really odd because you went from one completely different cinematic formula to something completely different. You're going from this horror genre of being in the cabin in the woods to now being in the past.
Well, when you think about it, a lot of the movies of the time kind of did the same thing because the first one was like the real horror movie, but most of the sequels, I don't know about you, but I felt like every sequel of an 80s horror movie was a comedy after that.
But I'm talking like not even like you're now in the past, and in many, many, many years in the past, But you have everything already lined up, and we know it doesn't end up being the exact same. But I thought they did a really good job. And it's just something I had never noticed before.
Yeah, the artwork on those pages is just awesome. I love
we
how
have some
they
more
set
pictures.
all that up.
Yeah. And they are the most sturdy pages of all time.
They're made of human skin, so of course they are. And they're written on blood. That never goes
and then
away.
Here comes Jake. So this is the first Jake from State Farm, the white one, not the new one. And he says, all right, I got life insurance and Bobby Joe, but we're going to find her. I bundle my insurance. And he grabs the pages because they're trying to say the pages are the only thing. Like, this guy has not seen enough to realize, like, hey, you know what? There's something that we got to figure out.
This guy's clearly an idiot, and we understand that full effect right now as he's aiming the shotgun at everybody. And Ash is the voice of reason. Ash, the dumb guy, is the voice of reason, saying, "No, you idiot!" And even the other girl's like, "What are you talking about?" But he's freaking out, looking for his cousin. So they've got to drop that page. He throws the pages into the cellar like a moron, not realizing that this is the only way we're gonna be saved is with this. And he's trying to get everybody outside. And like, didn't you see the crazy monster trees outside? Come on, man. You know there's no trail.
He needs to find Bobby Joe.
Yeah,
like that. He's determined to find Bobby Joe. He has no other cousins that hot. He needs just Bobby Joe. What? Fun fact: she found him through the farmer's hookup app. All right. Yeah, so you're right. Ash is trying to be the voice of reason, but he's basically saying, "Hey, you know what? We're all going," and he's just yelling for Bobby Joe. Bobby Joe isn't answering because Bobby Joe's dead.
Bobby Joe's so dead, and he's an idiot.
Another fight ensues. And then
just want to let you know that I'll be staying up to like 1 tonight because I gotta go sleep just to try playing like an hour.
Yeah, and then we've got a bunch of zombie stuff going on. Annie's trying to run back to the cabin. You've got Ash, who turns into a zombie here and tries to break down the door.
For the second time.
Yeah.
For the second time. Only the first time they've seen him, though. Sorry, my son. You know, oh, you're talking? Here, let me, I need to talk to you right now. Which is the exact opposite of what Ed's son does when he's on the stream with him. He doesn't talk. So then you gotta pull Ed's son's teeth. Hey, Luke, you're one of the co-hosts. You need to talk.
I love how the door is giggling at Annie.
So Annie's pretty much freaked out because she thinks she's on her own now. She thinks Ash, evil Ash, Deadite Ash, has killed dumbass Jake, and she's all alone. Doesn't have her pages. This is good. This is good work. A good makeup though. When you look at it,
I agree.
And I forgot that Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, and they had a lot of good.
So I forgot that Greg Nicotero had worked on this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But you know, I love the glow in the back. I mean, it all looks really good. You know, especially for what 81, 82, 83, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and again, no money. Probably less money than what I have to run my YouTube channel. Right now, someone's selling a $5 super chat for that makeup. $10 super chat. Get some lipstick for that guy. And then he wills himself back. Is that what he does? He wills himself back to.
So I mean, it's a little bit like that, but remember, he gets a glimpse of the necklace again that he had that attachment to, and he remembers his girlfriend, and he remembers the trauma, and it draws him back into himself, brings the humanity back into who he is, so that it forces the Deadite possession out of him.
Yeah. And then she has this awful weapon, which would hurt.
If you look at it real closely, it is actually a human spine that has been sharpened down to a point. But basically, that whole dagger is based off of the vertebrae of the human spine.
Yeah, and that thing would hurt going through because it is
ribbed.
Yes. And not for her pleasure. And it's definitely not ribbed for Jake's pleasure because this thing is
Jake
huge, right? And well, and I mean, I'm glad that they tie up all the loose knots, no doubt about it. They tie up all the loose knots. Everyone gets what they deserve. His teeth are still, missing. And here comes Bruce, still evil Bruce. She tries to close the door on Jake like it's going to help.
On that thin ass cabin door that's probably
which definitely makes me laugh.
It's made out of planks of wood that are falling apart already, and it's so thin. How's she going to close the door on this big fat dude who's in the way?
Then she tries pulling him, which she doesn't have the strength. And then evil Bruce still, evil Ash. She's able to hold the door closed on him. I never really bought that.
Yeah, no, not so much. And then Mom pops up from the cellar.
And I love... Now, as a doctor, are you supposed to ever remove something that is impaled in someone?
No. not without proper medical attention, medical providers, and everything else. Because as soon as you pull that thing out, there's going to be blood gushing everywhere. You could bleed out super fast. You have no idea what is punctured, what is damaged. No, you need to take proper precautions before taking something out. And something like that, you may not pull it out one way. You may push it through because of the way those serrated edges are. I don't know. It's pretty complicated. They probably have to go surgical to pull that out.
Now, with that said, they are in a very trying moment. So I don't think Jake was going to survive anyway.
No way. Yeah, he's not surviving.
But I gotta say, they make even the way she yanks it out. It's not like she just pulls it out. You would have to use force, and this thing is serrated in both ways. So it's going in bad, it's going out bad. That's pretty much why you don't want a hollow point to ever go through you, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. No, hollow points are nasty pieces of work.
So here she is trying to pull him. Like, hey, listen, Jake's dead, dude. Jake is dead. Jake was dead on arrival when you stuck that thing through him.
Yep, done. Yeah, I mean, not to mention the disease that's probably festering on that bone-based diseased blade and the bacteria that's already on it going into it. How long it's been in the cabin? We don't know where the hell it even came from because I don't think we saw it before she picked it up there. But anyway.
Well, it also may have like a deadite disease that you don't have, that maybe antibiotics don't work for here.
Probably not.
So here's the axe. Like, haven't you done enough damage? Henrietta, she puts him right there. His head is right there at the cellar door, and Henrietta's like, awesome.
Put him to hell.
Just looking at the makeup, it's so disgusting. I mean, this looks like someone who, they've been in the water for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the makeup stuff that they did.
I love that she's trying to keep him like that. Dude. Yes, random. Yes. In the right movie, he could definitely walk that off easy. If his name started with an A and ended with a D, yeah, that would have been a flesh wound. And just again, so much blood. Now, again, continuity error. She has a lot of blood on her. It does not last. It's like that yellow shirt was like
it's made out of synthetic fabric, and so it didn't stick to it. It just brushed right off right away. It was just gone.
Oh, she had like a lint brush that she could use to get the blood out. and Bruce here is still like he's still a deadite, but he has such willpower that he's able to keep changing back. So there's a bit more blood, right? More blood there should have been.
Oh yeah.
None on her shorts. It's kind of like Bloody Pandora. There's only blood on certain spots, but misses blood elsewhere. It doesn't make any sense.
It also kind of reminds me of, back in Ghostbusters, how Bill Murray didn't want to have the marshmallow stuff put on at the end because he'd already been slimed once. So everybody else is covered in the marshmallow foam stuff, and he isn't. He's got like a little bit in his hair, but nowhere else on him.
Is that the reason for that?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. I don't think we discussed that when we did it.
I think I thought I remember bringing it up back then.
You might have. So here he has the bracelet. Now, I don't know how his teeth get better. I don't understand that. But hey, you know what? Maybe it's Invisalign. Maybe he had Invisalign put in.
Just right there on the spot,
And then he's just back to be normal. He still has the same blood on his forehead that he's had the whole time that hasn't dried.
Never went away. Never quit, went away.
Yep. It's still there. Just waiting. All right. We're coming to the end. I think. Oh yeah, she shoots at him. Or no, I'm sorry. She swings the axe at him. He has to convince her that he's not.
Yep, she struggles with him, fighting at him, swinging everything at him, trying to kill him. And he's like, "Nah, kill him now." So he's got to overpower her. So it's a fun little thing.
With his one hand.
But then they had that whole discussion next about we need those pages. You got to go get them.
And then Henrietta is waiting for him.
Yep. He's like, the hell I do? And he's like, but I guess I do. And so he's got to get geared up, and he's got to put the chainsaw in his hand and the boomstick in the other one, but he saws it off first. And this is where we first hear it. I think this is the first time we hear the phrase, groovy.
He hits the... Yes. So he's able to successfully mount this. No Deadites come for him. No spirits, nothing. I don't know why they just stay in the shed the whole fucking time. Gone down there in the morning. He successfully mounts this. I do love the fact that I look at it now and I see how he formed the piece of metal to hit the string for it, and how it's meant to work. Like, I know I've seen it before, but you don't really realize it. He hits the double barrel shotgun, and he just breaks it off. You ever cut through metal? It doesn't work that. Especially not chainsaws. They're not made to cut through metal.
Yeah, it kind of bends. It kind of warps a little bit. It doesn't exactly go smoothly unless you do it with the right kind of cutting tool. And chainsaw ain't that cutting tool.
No. And here we get the, like you said, groovy. So once again, he's going down. These steps are supposed to be broken.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Now, the other issue. Oh, I didn't notice her head in the background so perfectly there. So he threw the pages down there. They should be right at the bottom, but they're all over the place.
I mean, not even that. They should be right there. I mean,
they're all over the place.
They're right there. Right? They shouldn't be. Maybe a couple of them fell down or whatever,
yeah.
But they should be like right there on the steps.
And they're up in like corners and stuff. Like, it makes no sense. Like, where he's going looking for it. There's all these all these rats down there. Do we have a determined? Oh no! Oh, this must be Jake's skeleton, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, it's not the other person's skeleton. It's not Henrietta's skeleton, so it's got to be Jake.
Why would they make Jake into a Deadite? Wouldn't they need trash out?
They knew he wasn't worth it.
All right. So she's just waiting. Thank God Henrietta didn't go after her. Probably could have made this a lot easier because she's the only one that could read it. Henrietta could have just went after her.
There's no other Deadite spirits that are coming up through there to try and get her. She's just staring down into nothing, and nothing's coming back at her. They just open up that big pit there where he's walking around.
So, and I love he throws them up to her, which is totally in reverse. Because nothing goes like that. She clearly dropped them, and they did it in reverse.
Yeah, clearly.
He goes back up. Here comes Henrietta underneath. Pulls him down. Once again, I see another shinner, which I cannot stand seeing shinners. This brings me back to my days of skateboarding all the time and getting one. Probably would have broke your legs, but hey.
Yeah.
Here she is. So now Henrietta comes up. I'm moving too fast. I hate this fucking computer. All right.
Annie starts reading the pages.
I
She starts
apologize,
reading the
guys.
passages.
This had worked for a while. It's not working that well today. So now we have Flying Henrietta. And then Bruce is still alive. And he's coming out here. Look at he's pissed, man.
Yeah, he's trying, and Annie's trying to read the pages as she's trying to get them back up there. So
That thing is so. She is so gross. Like, honestly, God, this is so disgusting. And it doesn't have a rubber vibe. Like, it does not have a rubber suit vibe. Kind of like when you watch The Walking Dead, like, they didn't have, I mean, they looked like they were rotting corpses. Here she starts saying the
now remember, the first part of this
different
is
conditions.
to bring it to Flash.
But
And so
as we all
what
know, the
you're doing
hand is
is you're
still
trapping the Deadites into Flash. And so that now we have to deal with the physical manifestation of it. And technically, you could probably actually kill them at this point because they have Flash or they're bound to the Flash. And then the second part is opening up the portal.
Yeah. This thing is so nasty. It's so nasty.
And then some of the fight that's going on
But
here reminds
now
me
I
of
cannot see it.
bad Star Trek thrashing.
It does, but I cannot not see Sam Raimi's brother. Like you just see it now.
Yeah,
like once
He's
you know
totally-
this
you can
years
totally see
later.
it. Yep.
Yeah, because he looks nothing like Henrietta.
No.
And then we get Large Marge, the early Large Marge.
And then
And
what you get
this
now
is Clash of
Annie
Titans all over.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Clash of the Titans, absolutely right. Same with what happens in the next movie for sure. But as Annie's starting to read the second passage, she gets Ash's hand. Comes
But he
back.
fights this thing with one hand. He's boxing it.
Well, he did well against Jake with one hand.
So she's reading them, and then and he does do a good job of. Oh shit!
You out of it?
All right, am I still there?
Yeah.
You guys are troopers.
Thanks for sticking with us.
No, it's
technical difficulties and
let's come back
everything.
up. You guys are troopers sticking through here.
Yeah.
This worked pretty well last week, but for some odd reason.
Yeah.
And he's
Ash
like
is-
showing off his chest. You know.
This is great. We need this version of Ash also from NECA, definitely. Half bare chested one.
Yeah.
And then
Well, we don't have an Army of Darkness one.
No, we don't have an Army of Darkness one, do we? We definitely need that. And then we go back to Annie, whose last breath opens up the passage.
You know what else was never a continuity error? No one ever added wood to this fire. It just burned the whole time. And it would have made more sense for them to throw.
There's the hellfires. They just never stop burning.
So here comes the trees. These are not nice trees like in the Lord of the Rings. They're mean trees like poltergeist. Says, why wasn't he in more stuff when he was this young? Hollywood sucks. Bruce should have been in every. So I always said Bruce Campbell would have made a wonderful Batman.
I would have cast Bruce Campbell in a whole bunch of stuff. He is really engaging, charismatic. He could have done a lot of different things. He actually did do some things that we kind of forget about sometimes when you think about his career. But
he's most known for this, obviously, because it kind of set him off. But no, he would have been great in almost anything as a Batman. Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, the chin. But the other thing is, when you look at him in this, and you can see like the shirt ripped, he was in really good shape. You know, and he had the chin. I think he could have pulled off being a one. I said that for forever that he should be. He would have been a great Batman. And then here is the hand that. I mean, he has one hand. Batman needs two hands. So. So here come the Deadites. No one can finish it. Bruce goes white, like Mr. Fantastic.
I thought that was an awesome reference. They were talking about Mr. Fantastic. That's the first thing I thought of too when I see those white streaks in his hair like that. But that's a thing when you get scared so bad, your hair turns white.
Yeah, that's I've never seen Boba Hotep. I need to see that.
Oh man, yeah, Bubba Hotep.
So here she finally gets stabbed. We were way ahead of her time. We were way ahead. We're like, hey, we're 16 minutes behind. We can. She finally gets stabbed. The tree comes after him. He starts cutting it up with a chainsaw and shit.
It's what you do with a tree. You cut it up with a chainsaw. That's what you're supposed to do.
This is like the greatest chainsaw ever. All right, it cuts through metal. It cuts through living trees.
Must be a Husqvarna.
But she's not dead yet. Now I would have loved for them to bring her back where she didn't die. Like that would have been awesome. Like in Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yeah.
They could have brought her back where she didn't die.
Yeah.
Because no one pulled it out of her. They waited medical. Oh God. I always found this really disgusting.
Definitely.
This creeps me out. Yeah. See, we're getting ahead of ourselves because everyone wants Shop Smart, Shop S Smart, which we all know is supposed to be Kmart because he's from Michigan, where Kmart was based.
Yeah, that was clear.
And then we get the tunnel. Now, if you don't know, this is Sam Raimi's like first car, so it makes a appearance in every movie. It was in Spider-Man. It is the car that Uncle Ben gets killed in.
It was in
obviously
Multiverse of Madness too.
In Army of Darkness. What?
It was in Multiverse of Madness also.
Yep. Yeah. So if you don't know, Sam Raimi's car and Bruce Campbell make an appearance in almost every movie that he does. Almost every movie, other than The Quick and the Dead. He was not in that one. And I know that for a fact. So here she is. She finishes it, and then it sucks him in.
Well, hey,
unlike Mr. Fantastic.
It sucks his car in first. Man, he's I mean, that's his car, man. It took his car. And now it's going to take him. That's okay because Bruce can't be separated from his car.
Well, I had the chemistry books in the back that he needed.
Exactly.
How else was he going to make a bionic hand that
right, yeah, with the
scientists and engineers can't make? So luckily this was held on. You could still tell. Like, I love the fact that anytime I see stuff like this, like, all right, well, clearly he's just kind of holding on to it. But the tunnel's coming for him, and he's about to get sucked in. I think I took a few too many pictures of these. Oh, no, maybe not. Now, again, if you remember Army of Darkness, the car is in much better shape than what it ends up here because it explodes here. But again, they did change Army of Darkness because at the end of this, Yeah, at the end of this one, they are worshiping him.
Yeah, so they've got to kind of go back and tell the story about how
So
it
we see everyone
came
my
to
computer
that, how he
sucks.
got put in all that stuff. Yeah, so they did a little retconning with each movie as they went through the series, because the way they ended it or tried to set up the next one or whatever didn't quite fit exactly what they wanted to do. So like the second one was that reboot slash remake slash sequel all at the same
Yep.
time. And so the same thing with Army of Darkness is they had to go back and say, oh, we need to fit this into the story better. So this is just kind of the outline of where we wanted to go. I think he did that because he didn't know if he was going to get to make the other one or not. And he was like, oh, hey, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I have no problem with it because it's still it works. You know, we know what we're watching. You know, we've all accepted that what we thought, you know, that Luke was the last Jedi, that we were fucking completely wrong because now everyone's a Jedi. We've all accepted that, but we haven't. So here he is. He's just a badass. He blows this thing up, which is awesome.
His
Special
boomstick.
effects. And I got a pretty good shot of that.
Yeah, that's
Exploding.
great. That's awesome. And here comes Sam Raimi.
Yep. I don't know if I got a picture of him though. That's Sam Raimi right here, right?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
This one or the one next to him?
No. It's the one that talks. It's the one that lifts up.
And now he realizes, and then he realizes where he's at and how fucked he is.
Prophecy fulfilled.
And they're all worshiping him. Yes. And that's the end of it. And I can get rid of this and maybe we won't be all jittery. And that's it. That was Evil Dead 2. We will do Army of Darkness. We already discussed it. I'm glad that someone else suggested it because I just brought it up to you before we got on. And it's just too much of a cliffhanger not to.
Yeah, and you know, like you said the same thing the other day. I always felt the same way. Army of Darkness was my favorite in the trilogy. I love Evil Dead 2. The first one was okay, but it kind of set the universe. The second one really kind of carried the story through. But Army of Darkness was always my favorite because he was just a badass in that movie.
Because it's fun. It's like
Yeah.
It's like imagining a group of 8 Navy SEALs being dropped into the Lord of the Rings. How much shit would they fuck up having all that, you know, explosives, guns and shit? That's what you have. You've taken this guy with a chainsaw and a boomstick and you've dropped him into people that don't even know what guns are, let alone a chainsaw. And a car. And it's fun. It's just fun. But and the other thing that it is not only is it like there's really one movie, but they're two different genres of movies. Where one is this horror genre in the woods, the next one is really an old time.
I always thought that's what you had to do with sequels to begin with. I mean, you think about some of the best sequels that have ever been made, and they are completely different movies. Alien is a horror movie. Aliens is an action movie. You know, Terminator 1 is a thriller. Terminator 2 is a science fiction action movie that's a little more thought out, I think. But, you know, some of those best sequels change genre.
Down South says that part 1 is his favorite. But it's been I never really watched. I never watched the first one too much because I always thought of. I'm watching the continuity, and I always thought 2 was just more fun. But if I am correct, I believe you could use either or that leads to Army of Darkness.
I think you could, except for the way the first one ends doesn't quite lead.
So I have to watch it again. Because like I said, it's been a long time. again, to me, the second one is just fun. And then when you get into, again, Ash vs. Evil Dead, I think it's awesome. Uh, and Allison agrees. Same. I like the more serious tone of the first one. The second one is too jokey. There's nothing funny about that.
No, I get what she's saying. I mean, it's fair criticism. I mean, the first one does have its good elements, and I do like it. But for whatever reason, I always thought the second one was better. It was well made, and it told a story that I thought was a little more compelling than the first one. The first one was very much just a low budget, like bottom of the barrel, low budget horror movie, which is awesome for what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I go Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 1, but Ash vs. Evil Dead I think is a perfect TV series.
Yeah. And admittedly, I'm not a horror film. I do not care for horror films. So, yeah, Evil Dead 2 speaks more to me because I would rather watch a comedy than a horror film. There are very few horror movies that I look at and like. And I mean, I liked Halloween. I thought the Halloween series before they got out of control were really good. The Omen always scared the living shit out of me. I still think it's like the scariest movie ever. And it's been so long since I've seen it. And, the Friday the 13th were fun because they were always on the weekends. And, there was some, the early, Friday the 13th. Hellraisers were good, but they were more like action, the original Hellraiser and stuff. But I don't care for horror movies. I don't really get scared over things other than the only thing I think that really still makes me jump is The Sixth Sense, when right at the beginning the girl walks by behind him. To this day, I get chills and I just like, I know it's coming. It bothers me. And then when you see her in all this stuff, what?
The scariest movie that I remember seeing, like in the movie theaters, that freaked me out for a while. That it took me forever to go back and rewatch it again. Was Event Horizon. But I also have a buddy who refused to sit next to me in a movie after 2 movies in a row that we went to because they were relatively same time frame. That halfway through the movie, I told him how it was going to end. I didn't know this at the time. I just said, hey, wouldn't it be weird if? And those 2 movies were The Sixth Sense and Fight Club. And I'd never seen those movies before, but my buddy said that I'm never sitting next to you in a movie again.
My my ex was very much like that. She would kind of foresee the stuff. The Sixth Sense was one that The Sixth Sense, I didn't see it all coming. And the moment you saw the end of it, you went, oh my God, like, how did you not see it? It's all right there. But when you watch the making of The Sixth Sense, when he talks about sitting down at that table with his wife, and he's like, it was so hard because she can't make eye contact with you because she doesn't know you're there.
Yeah.
So you're talking to her, but she's not seeing you. And again, The Sixth Sense, after you've seen it and you know it, you're like, it's so obvious, but it was so not obvious, at least not to me. And the other one I think was, what was the other movie that he did? The superhero movie. Not Mr. Glass, Unbreakable. That one was like, oh, he's a superhero. Oh, this is a superhero. This is a superhero movie, and no one realized it to the end. Even though the whole time, Mr. Glass is telling you that this is a superhero movie.
That trilogy is actually not a bad trilogy if you put all 3 of those movies together. Some people don't like the third one and how it worked everything out, but that's actually I forget what they were, but he made 3 movies that were that trilogy of superhero films, and they were pretty decent in my opinion.
I liked the last one. I don't remember exactly how everything ended. Like, I remember there was all these events, and he explained like how everything came right back. Like, And I thought it was awesome. Down South 77 says, I hated Unbreakable. It's grown on me over the years, though. I really like Unbreakable. I really like Signs. Signs was another one. Once you saw it,
that one a lot.
yeah, once you saw it, all the signs. When you heard Signs, they made it seem like the signs were the things that were being shown in the fields. But the signs were all the signs that the dead wife had said, swing for the fences or something like that, or like she had foreseen all this stuff happening. Some of the other ones I never saw. The one with Marky Mark, that he basically tells you this thing is trash, don't even watch it. Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. I haven't seen Split or Glass. They're all really good. And the fact that you don't know that Split is part of it to the end.
Yeah.
And it's really like the whole at the end of Iron Man, they said, hey, what if we can get Samuel L. Jackson to come in and be Nick Fury? Considering Nick Fury, when they changed him from white to black, was based after Nick Fury.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe this will become a franchise, and it became the franchise that it is. Glass was kind of the same way. Nobody knew it. And if I remember correctly, when they showed, Split. When they showed Split, if I remember correctly, they didn't show Bruce Willis at the end of the screening. It was when it went into the theaters that's when people saw it because they didn't want it.
Yeah.
Because when he does a movie right, he does it right. When he doesn't,
yeah, that's really hard to watch sometimes because he has a tendency to not do them right and make people mad because he's trying to, make people not see what's coming, but we know that it's one of his movies, so we kind of already know that it's going that way, and so he kind of messes that up.
And I do believe they're all supposed to take place in the exact same universe.
Yeah.
So even though Bruce Willis plays multiple characters in it, it's the same as Brody. Jason Lee has multiple characters. Ben Affleck has multiple characters. Yep. And all of what's his face?
Kevin Smith. Yeah.
I don't think Tusk. Does Tusk take place in that?
No. So Tusk and Yoga Hosers is a different trilogy of movies. He was supposed to make 3. I think he may have made the 3rd one. I don't know, but I never saw the other ones anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. So speaking of M. Night, did you guys see Old? I did not.
No, me either.
That's the one where all the young kids go on vacation, I believe, right? And they go around, and all of a sudden they start aging super fast.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one. I don't even remember hearing about it. But
hey, you know what? Listen, Ben Affleck can act.
Yeah, dude can act.
Ben Affleck, and he can direct. Listen. I know people don't like him.
He also knows Batman better than you think he does. And actually played Batman really well. And I thought that it would have been great to see him actually get a movie to play Batman or did write or direct Batman because I think he would have known what he was doing. He's a very smart guy, despite, the whole, hookers and trailers and whatever nonsense that was all about.
Yeah, Ben Affleck and both Ben Affleck and his buddy are awesome.
Matt Damon's got that. No, that's Leo DiCaprio. Never mind. Leo's got a movie that's coming out that I want to see. But
he was okay, Allison. Now I know you're just lying. All right, now I know you're just lying.
No, to be fair, it's the worst script that a Batman's probably had to deal with. But Batman.
Do you not remember Batman and Robin?
No, I don't. No, I don't remember that movie. That movie didn't happen. Ben Affleck physically embodied the character of Batman and Bruce Wayne better than
Yes.
any other single actor I believe ever has, because he could play both parts. And he knows the character well enough from reading the comics that I think he did a really good job with it. Now, if you watch Joss Whedon's version of the Justice League, you'll be sorely missed because uh, everything that was reshot 6 months later when Ben Affleck had gone back to drinking heavy and his normal eating routine and had gained all that extra weight. So they completely changed his character in the Joss Whedon version, and the Zack Snyder version that they actually finished with that long ass cut that they did a much better job of portraying Batman as he should have been.
I was just thinking about E.T. E.T. is a really good movie. If you just you don't like E.T.
No, I cannot stand that movie.
I really do like E.T. Just sit back and you watch it, and it's not a movie I would watch all the time, but I thought it was done really well. But no, again, I really do like this stuff. Ben Affleck, they did the they did that the Michael Jordan movie, but what was that called? Air. I think it was Air. That's really good.
No, yeah, Ben Affleck killed it in that movie. That movie was awesome on so many levels, and I love the fact that Michael Jordan, they asked him to be in it, and he said no, but Viola Davis is going to play my mother.
Yeah, that was
one stipulation.
Yeah, that they had to use her, and she was awesome. I mean, she's a great actress as it is.
Yeah.
And then what was the first movie that they did?
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. If that was on right now, if I sat down in my bed and that was on, I'd be up till 3 a.m. watching it.
No, it's amazing what two of those guys came together. One, they wrote it. Two, they were in it, and 3, they got Robin Williams to play off of their characters, and it's the chemistry in that movie is phenomenal. The writing, directing, and for their debut, it's absolutely amazing to put all those things together and say, wow, these guys are going to go somewhere. They're going to do some stuff.
Yeah, and when he talks about working with Robin Williams and just how wonderful he was, how good of an actor he was, it almost makes me feel bad for some of the things that I may have said after the fact. Maybe the name of my fantasy football team. Listen, I might feel a little bad, but not all that bad. But yeah, like I think both of them have done wonderful things, and Ben Affleck does a wonderful job with stuff based on true stories. Argo, is it Argo?
Argo, yeah, Argo was awesome. Yeah,
just the story itself, it's like, wow, this shit really happened. Like creating a movie to get U.S. citizens out of an awful situation.
That was. Was that Ross Perot's team that he sent in? Is that what, that was? Okay. Because I know Ross Perot financed mercenaries to go in and rescue a bunch of hostages one time.
No, I don't know. I don't think so. It was the U.S. government that I think sanctioned it.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Again, like, I see those guys and stuff, and again, it's like the Bourne Identity. You saw that he was playing it and you went, oh, sure. And then you watched it and you're like, oh, it's not about him being like this superhuman. And they never explain why he's so good. I guess in the Bourne without him, which doesn't make any sense. I think they try and get into it and people are like, that's stupid. I've never watched it.
No, it's terrible and nobody should ever watch that one.
And I like Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, I agree. I like Jeremy Renner too. But no, without Matt Damon, it's just not the same series.
No, he is Bourne. It doesn't make any sense. Like, how do you have a Bourne Identity movie? Again, you could have made something in the same universe and not called it the Bourne Identity. Or which one was that one?
I don't remember which one that was. I forget.
Yeah, that was the Bourne that everyone hates. All right. So anyway, it's approaching 1 o'clock my time. I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah. Nobody should have watched Jeremy Renner movies unless they've committed crimes against humanity. Oh, I'm going to disagree.
Oh, no, come on.
So there is a movie with Jeremy Renner, and I believe it's on Netflix. You can see it. It's supposed to take place in Alaska. It's with with Native Americans, and the daughter's murdered, and Jeremy Renner's. She also has a daughter. He had a daughter, I believe, that committed suicide. So they both know about loss, and he's talking to the father. I want to say it was the father, and has this dialect. There's this dialogue with him. And I have a friend that her son committed suicide, and as you might imagine, she's never recovered because I don't think you recover from something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, you need to watch this. Just this part. I said, I think it explains everything you've tried telling me, and what you've tried to express. And I sent it over to her, and she was like, that just nailed it perfectly.
Yeah.
It is, and I wish I could remember. Again, if you go IMDb, it's not going to be that hard to figure out. I'll find it out and mention it. It's such a good movie. I do like Jeremy Renner.
I think he's a pretty good person. Two, I think the stuff that he's made is fairly decent. I mean, besides that Bourne movie, he's done other stuff that he's been in that has been pretty good. I was just trying to think of he did right before his accident. He was in a TV series that Taylor Sheridan did on Paramount, and I can't think of the name of it right now. But yeah, that I saw some of that, and that was pretty good.
I think is it The Last Castle?
Kings. It had Kings in it.
Oh yes.
Not Tulsa King. No, that was. But he played like this monster guy type of guy. It was I liked it.
I watched like 2 episodes and I never finished it. So, he played a good Dahmer. Was he? He didn't play Dahmer. Did he?
I don't know. I haven't looked through his whole catalog before. I don't know. Maybe he did.
I'm still trying to figure out how he got himself trapped underneath a fucking snowplow.
Did you watch that special on Disney Plus? Because it went through the whole detail about it.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so yeah, basically he was driving that thing, and it something happened, jammed up controls or whatever, and he saw that his nephew was like going to be in the way or something, so he stepped out to go, talk to him or yell at him or whatever. Got caught on the tread and it pulled him down under.
Oh,
so it ran over him that way. So he was actually trying to save his nephew or help his nephew out when he got run over by the whole thing.
He couldn't just shoot an arrow at his nephew to get him out of the way? Doesn't he have like a flame arrow that he could have just shot and it would have melted all the snow? All right, so Dom South says he did a movie literally called Dahmer. All right. Well, you know what? It takes a good man to be able to imitate one that eats people. But I really have to go because I have to go to the bathroom.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. We really appreciate you sticking around through the technical difficulties and everything. In 2 weeks we'll be doing Army of Darkness, and next week, Punk, what do you got going on next week?
Well, this Friday, if you are a channel member, 11 o'clock, we're going to do our first channel only stream. You'll be there. I'm assuming Allison will be there. I don't know where she has to be. So that means I see Down South 77 can be there. DJ can be there. I'm assuming Anthony will be there, Tony, and anyone else. And again, if you become a channel member, you can join in. It's kind of going to be a kind of what Oz does. We'll probably have a bunch of people on there, just open forum to talk about whatever. And then on Saturday, I will be on with Jay Bartlett, and it's Chad, and we will be discussing the state of Star Wars at 8 o'clock over in Jay Bartlett's channel. But you'll see me promote that. Do you have anything going on?
Yeah, I'm just taking more pictures on my Instagram. I'm trying to do horror theme stuff all October, releasing some good ones. Saturday morning, I've got a nice one from, I did a Purple Rain cover version of Snake Eyes on the motorcycle like they did in the comic book for IDW. But basically, that's all I've got going on social media type stuff.
All right, then. And then you'll be there tomorrow, so. All right, then. Well, you guys have a wonderful night, and hopefully we'll see most of you tomorrow at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. You guys have a wonderful night.